Welcome to Jessie's Bookish Babbles. I am Jessie, and today I'm going to be doing my March, April, and first half of May book haul. There are quite a few books to get through. I tried not to buy books in the months while my library was a mess, but that didn't happen, and honestly, nobody's surprised. Least of all my boyfriend, though. He does say that I need to buy less books. Probably not going to happen. I'm going to get right into it with A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo. This is a book that was done by John Oliver from Last Night Tonight with John Oliver. All of the proceeds went to the Trevor Project and a couple other charities designed at helping LGBT youth, people affected by AIDS, and various other things like that. This is the story of Vice President Pence's pet rabbit, Marlon Bundo, who falls in love with another male bunny and wants to get married. It's adorable. It's actually a very beautifully done. The illustrations are super, super lovely. There's Mike Pence as a stink bug. But Marlon, the illustrations are just really pretty. And the story is really cute. It's full of a lot of hope. It's a really nice kids book. And it was for a good cause. And it let me tell Vice President Pence that I think he's a jackass. So I won on all sorts of levels. So that was my favorite book purchase of the last few months. It just really amused me a great deal. It did take a really long time to come in the mail. Actually, A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo sold out. It was the best-selling book on Amazon for like a week. And I had to wait until the third printing before mine finally came. But it's here now, and it's lovely. So, moving on, I got A Thousand Nights by E.K. Johnston, as well as Spindle by E.K. Johnston. I have read A Thousand Nights. It's one of my favorite stories. I thought it was just really, really beautiful. And Spindle is a semi-sequel to it. So I'm hoping to get to that really soon, but honestly, it's probably going to take forever. My TBR is ginormous. Also, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, which I'm already going to call my favorite book of 2018. This story was absolutely phenomenal. If you're a fantasy fan, you need to be reading this. If you're not a fantasy fan, read it anyway, because it's great. It is, the characters are wonderful, the plot is really quick, full of action. This is a really thick book, but it went by so fast. So fast. I really, really enjoyed it. The sequel is coming out soon. I think it's called Children of Vice and Vengeance. I have already pre-ordered it because I loved this book that much. It's great. Please read it. And then I got a trilogy of books, Something Strange and Deadly, A Darkness Strange and Lovely, and Strange and Ever After. All of these are by Susan Dennard. And they are all signed by Susan Dennard. I have not read this trilogy, but I love the Witchland trilogy, Truth Witch, Wind Witch, and now Sight Witch, so much. I cannot wait until Blood Witch comes out. Like, I have a countdown on my phone. I am planning on doing a reread of the series at least once, possibly twice, before Blood Witch comes out. It's my favorite series that is in progress right now. I mean, obviously, Children of Blood and Bone might be giving it a run for its money, but right now, it's just, I love it so much. I really, really do. So I decided when I saw these autographed editions of her first trilogy, I decided to go ahead and buy them and give them a try. I believe this is, I believe there's a zombie apocalypse, I think. It's like a dystopian story. There's girls in pretty dresses on the front. It seems like my kind of thing. And moving into further other authors that I love a whole lot, I got A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, completing my Darker Shade of Magic trilogy that I have. I also purchased online, I found The Archived in hardcover. This is a used copy, so I got it from a library and it kind of shows evidence of that. But I really wanted the series in hardcover. I also picked up The Unbound, which is the sequel. And I'm really hoping that the third book in the trilogy, The Returned, sees the light of day someday. Victoria has promised us that she'll get it out there one day, but maybe not. I really hope it sees the light of day sometime soon, because that is a really good series. I enjoyed it a lot. I have to keep putting my books away as I talk about them because there's no other room on my little table here for me to shift them around and make other piles. So they're just going to get put away. So moving on to some other things, I picked up The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro. I picked this up and the movie at the same time. I have not read the book yet, but I did watch the movie, and it makes me a little scared to read the book because there are some disturbing things that happen in the movie that I think if I were to read about, I might not enjoy all that much. If you've not seen the movie or live in a cave and haven't heard of it, it is a story about a girl who is mute who meets a fishman and falls in love with him. Some people like to say this is the Abe Sapien origin story from like Hellboy. That's kind of how I like to view it, but it was a really good movie. It was just disturbing at times. So I also picked up The Fate of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I have read the first two books in the trilogy. I don't own them, but I've read them. I have not read this book, which is why I went ahead and picked it up, even though I don't own the other two books. And I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's kind of beat up because I got it used. I've heard that some people don't like the way that this trilogy ended, and I like it a lot, so it makes me nervous to read it, so I keep putting it off. I got Golden Hand by Garth Nix to finish up my Abhorsen series. I own all the other books, and now I have this one, so I have the entire series. And then I picked these up from a buy-sell trade group on Facebook. I got A Natural History of Dragons, Voyage of the Basilisk, and In the Labyrinth of the Drakes. These are books 1, 3, and 4 of this series. I am missing books 2 and 5. So I probably won't start it until I have the other two books in the series, just because when I can, I prefer to binge read an entire series at a time. So next, I have picked up The Bone Season and The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. These are books 1 and 2 of the Bone Season trilogy. series. It was a trilogy, but now I think it's getting more books, so a series. They're just books I've heard really good things about. They're nice and thick. I like thick books. And I found them for fairly cheap, and I decided to go ahead and get them. That's all the story there is for that. I have The Pirate's Wish by Cassandra Rose Clark. This is a series, a duology that has been out of print for a really long time, but the publishers re-released it recently in a combined omnibus, which reduced the price online of the out-of-print paperbacks. I picked up this for a lot cheaper than it used to be listed for, and I also have the first book, The Assassin's Curse, coming in the mail, but it hasn't arrived yet. It's been in the mail for a really long time, and I'm trying not to get nervous about it. It's not working so well. Next, I picked up the Fallen Kingdoms series. I got Fallen Kingdoms, Rebel Spring, Gathering Darkness, and Frozen Tides. I am just a really, really big fantasy fan, and I've heard that these are just amazing fantasy books. I have for a long time been trying to stay away from fantasy books written by men, and I thought Morgan Rhodes was a dude, but I think it's actually a woman, so I'm going to give him a try. And if it is written by a man, I really just don't care, because they sound like they're good. But, let's see, I don't think there's an author picture in here. No, but whatever. And then I have The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman and The Masked City, which is book 2 in the series. This is a series about an invisible library and a librarian that goes out to rescue books. And you know what? It's just fantastic. I love it so much, and I'm hoping to get the rest of the series soon. I just like 2 days ago finished a reread of The Invisible Library, and The Masked City is my current read. So that's what I'm currently reading. Alright, and then I picked up some poetry books because April was, or there was National Poetry Day, and my local bookstore had a bunch of poetry books on sale. So I got The Witch Doesn't Burn and this one, which is the sequel to The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. These poems were good. I don't think they were as successful as her first collection, but they were good. And then I got The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Carr, which is the sequel to Milk and Honey. Amazing collection. I also bought this for one of my friends for her birthday because she loved Milk and Honey as much as I did. And then I got The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, which is a narrative told entirely in verse. I really, really enjoyed it. There were parts of the beginning where I think it was a little slow, but then I really did enjoy it by the end. Next we have Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I'm a really, really big fan of Neil Gaiman. This, however, is a non-fiction book about Norse mythology, obviously. I have had it on my list for a really long time, and it came out in this really pretty paperback, and I just decided to buy it. It has like book flaps, which is weird for a paperback, but it's beautiful. I really love mythology in all forms. I like I love Greek mythology and Roman. Egyptian are the ones I'm most familiar with. I'm hoping to get familiar with Norse mythology and move on to some Asian and African mythologies, because I really do love learning about different mythologies. It's my thing. I picked up on a whim Alienated. And this is by Melissa Landers. I've just heard good things about this, and I saw it in a bargain book in the bargain book bin at my local bookstore, and was like, why not? It's only $10. So I did. I picked it up, and it was good. So next we have Illuminae and Gemina. I was holding out on buying these for the longest time because I wanted them in hardcover, but I saw them at Barnes & Noble and they were on sale, and buying both of them in paperback was cheaper than getting one in hardcover, so I was like, screw it. And now I have them in paperback, and Obsidio I think is already out in paperback, so I'm going to soon hope to buy that book and complete my little collection here. I've read Illuminae and really, really, really loved it. I have not read Gemina yet, but it is on my TBR for May. Then I got The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This is a contemporary book about a girl from she is half Taiwanese, and when her mother dies, she becomes convinced that her mother has been reincarnated into a bird, and she goes to Taiwan in search of, to be with family, and because she's grief-stricken. And I haven't read this book yet, but I've heard it is so amazing. It's just one of those books that I think I'm going to get really emotional while reading, and I don't want to read it at work. I spend almost all of my time at work lately, so it kind of just keeps getting pushed aside in favor of things that aren't going to make me cry. Then I got The Lie Tree, and I bought a signed copy. I read this book a while ago, and I was really, really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I really want to get other books by Frances Hardinge, because I really did. I loved this book so very much. So when I saw a signed copy was available, I kind of jumped all over it. Then I have Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz, which I picked up on a whim. I do that a lot. Yeah, that's half of my book collection is why not? I don't really know why I bought this, because I'm not really a historical fiction reader, but there's been a lot of hype about Alexander Hamilton, and this is like a retelling of him and his wife, I think? I'm not even sure. And I heard good things about it, and the cover's really pretty, and I was just like, why not pick it up and give it a try? Sometimes I like to try to... I am so sorry. That took me off guard. Sometimes I buy books in genres that I'm not a huge fan of if I've heard enough good things, because I like to challenge myself and push the boundaries. That was really loud. A really loud car going by. I like to push the boundaries I set. I don't want to get stuck reading in the same genre, and I don't like to make assumptions about books based off of their genre. I don't like to be one of those people that's like, I don't read these sorts of books. No. So, moving on, I got Run by Cody Keplinger. This is the author of The Duff and, oh shoot, she's written a bunch of stuff. Why can't I think of anything? The Duff, Lying Out Loud, A Midsummer's Nightmare, and Shut Out. Run is a lesbian romance, so really excited about that one. And I picked up The Miseducation of Cameron Post, another LGBT read that I'm hoping to get to soon. Actually, the rest of these are all LGBT reads. I finally got myself a copy of Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I can't talk. What in the world is wrong with me today? I read this a couple years ago when it first came out, and I really, really enjoyed it. I just never bought myself a copy because I was broke then. So I got this on sale at Barnes & Noble. They were having a promotion for the movie when it was coming out, so it was on sale. And I got it. I also got The Upside of Unrequited. The Upside of Unrequited. I don't know why I say unrequited, but I do. Also by Becky Albertalli. It takes place in the same world as Simon, but it is not a direct sequel. There is a direct sequel to Simon. It is out now. It is called Leah on the Offbeat. I don't have it yet. People need to stop driving by. I'm gonna get it soon because it sounds great. So I picked up Wild Beauty. This is the Owl Crate edition, and with the little letter and a signed bookplate. I got this online from somebody who was looking to get rid of it, and I jumped on that, so I have it now. I've read Anna Marie McLemore's book, When the Moon Was Ours. I really, really liked her writing style and the story. The magical realism was really dreamy and lovely, so I'm really excited to read this book, but I just got it in the mail last week, so I haven't had time to do that. And then finally I have Mask of Shadows. This is by Lindsay Miller. I have also already read this book, but I just recently bought myself a copy. The sequel is coming out really soon too, but this is a fantasy novel about an assassin. It's like Throne of Glass, but what I hoped Throne of Glass would have been like. And the main character is non-binary, and it's really, really good. I'm really excited to read the sequel. So, I don't know how many books that was, but that was all the books that I got in March, April, and the first half of May. I think I'm only going to do these book hauls every few months or so. I might try to do them every month, just so that I have less books I have to talk about all at once, but we will see. So maybe I'll stop buying books and I won't have to do any book hauls. Yeah, that's not likely to happen. I spend almost my entire paycheck on books all the time. It's a bad thing. But anyway, that's all I have for today, and it's getting really hot in this library. My breeze is no longer coming through the window, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Please like this video, hit subscribe if you want to see more of me. This is just me shouting into the void and hoping that somebody shouts back. See you next time.